Welcome back with a smiling face. Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. The sorrow of Omega's broken heart. I, known as Alpha Logan, do not accept you, identified as Omega Alisa, as my life partner. Could it be because of Lila? It's not because of her. I simply cannot be with an Omega. What do you mean? I stuttered involuntarily. I took a step back. My lips quivered, making it impossible to speak as my heart clenched tight. Alisa found herself captivated by Logan, the future alpha of the Moonlight Crown Pack. She harbored a constant desire for his attention. In the meantime, Logan, an arrogant alpha, believed that a frail Omega wouldn't make a suitable companion for him. Lucas, Logan's cousin, returned from overseas as the rightful heir of the pack, but he never attempted to claim the position or displayed any desire for it. Upon his return to the pack, Alisa caught the attention of the once well-liked Playboy Alpha. Episode 1. Alisa P.O.V. Stop staring at him. My best friend Tessa told me as she shook her head. I averted my gaze from Logan, who was chatting with his friends at the specific table in the right corner. My eyes were always on him, which he could never see. He was the soon-to-be alpha of our Moonlight Crown Pack and I was just an ordinary Omega. I was sitting in the canteen of our school with Tessa. It was our break time, so we came here to chit-chat. I sighed and turned my head to Tessa. I was just you were looking around and your eyes suddenly fell on him. She said and chuckled. I smiled and looked away. Tessa was my best friend. She knew everything about me. You are this pack's beta's daughter. He can't let you down. She let out. I shook my head. No, I want him to look at me as an ordinary girl, not as his father's beta's daughter. You are beautiful. He will love you back for sure. Otherwise, I will break his neck. He will listen to you. I pressed my hand over her mouth to stop her. It was time for our next lesson to begin. We walked to the classroom. It was a brand promotion class. The best part was that it was one of the few classes where seniors and juniors could sit together. I was waiting outside with Tessa when I saw Logan headed this way. I gasped and waited for us to enter together, not knowing whether we would be able to sit together. I was ready to enter the classroom when I felt a push from my right side and collided with Logan. He gripped my waist and pulled me up straight. His veiny hands and muscular arms were wrapped around me. I nearly passed out. His warmth completely enveloped me. My attention was drawn to his fair forehead with a little fringe scattered, a sharp nose, and dark eyes. Are you okay? I could hear him. I realized I was staring at his attractive features. He was in his 4th year of our Moonlight University. In contrast, I was a first-year student. Everyone glanced at us as they came to a halt. I took a step back after clearing my throat. Yeah, thank you. I responded timidly. He nodded and walked inside the classroom. I could see other girls glaring at me. They were all madly in love with Logan. He was the most handsome boy they had ever seen and cherry on the top, he was their future alpha. But I did not like Logan due to his attractive looks or posture. I liked him since he once saved my life when I was in danger. Who knows what might have happened if he had not saved me? How was that? A whisper was heard. I twisted my head and softly punched Tessa's arm. Ouch! I was expecting a kiss on the cheek from you. But you are slamming into me. My best friend was attempting to matchmake me with Logan, just as she had pushed me towards him moments ago. He will get angry. Tessa, don't do that again. She sighed and rolled her eyes. I am not sure how you are going to win his heart with such candor. I laughed and locked her arm with mine. We walked inside the classroom. The class was completely crowded. I looked for a seat and saw a few vacant chairs. Unfortunately, they were not near Logan. We walked to our seats, which were rather far away from Logan's. The professor arrived and began our class. Dear students, today we will learn how to select the best sponsor for your product. You must choose the best backer for it. I concentrated on the lesson. I paid close attention in every lesson. I wanted to do well in school and make my parents proud. Like Alpha Logan, he is the face of our school. We are fortunate to have him here. The professor said. Everyone, including me, was staring at Logan. He scowled and said, Logan. The professor was perplexed by what he had just said. Yes. Call me Logan. Yes, yes. It's a great honor. The professor grinned. Everyone tried hard not to chuckle. Begin buttering. Everyone around here loves to butter him. Hey! Tessa murmured. After hearing her remarks, I burst out laughing. I saw Logan concentrating on his book. But I might argue that his focus was not on the book and that he was thinking about something else. He was a reserved person. We were familiar with each other. Not only was my father his father's beta, but he was also his father's closest buddy. But Logan had a past. Logan was not the son of our current Alpha, Neil. He was the son of Alpha Neil's brother, Evan. However, he lost his parents when he was just 5 years old. Alpha Neil accepted him totally after that. Everyone described Logan as Alpha Neil's shadow. Alpha Neil wanted him to be the pack's next alpha. But there was something more. Alpha Neil has a son as well. He and Logan were the same age. Everyone knew Alpha Neil and his son Lucas had a strained relationship. Lucas was also someone I knew. I had not seen him since I was 11 years old. It had been almost 8 years since his father had sent him abroad. Will you go tonight? I emerged from my thoughts. Hey! Tessa was the one who asked the question. Lucas is returning today. Seniors are giving him a welcoming party. I scowled. He is not even a student at our school. He will join our school, a girl in my front seat said to us. We observed that 4 pack fighters came to see the dean today, and a professor told our boys that Lucas is our new transfer student. I see. I muttered. Lucas was not the same as Logan. He was the complete opposite of him. In our childhoods, I only witnessed him become furious at everyone. Will you accompany me? Tessa asked. No. Consider it. Logan is definitely going. When I glanced at Logan, I sighed. He was now focused on his phone. After all the classes, Tessa dropped me off at home since my house was on her way. I saw there was no one in my house. I dialed my mother's number. Mom! I said as soon as she received the call. Where have you gone? Are you back at home, honey? You must be starving. Enter the kitchen. I made you lunch before I came to the pack house. Pack house? What brought you there? Lucas is returning today. So Lunella contacted me to ask if I could help her in cooking her son's favorite foods. You know how much Lucas used to like my food when he was a kid. Okay, Mom. I hung up the phone. My mother adored both Logan and Lucas. My mother was also friends with Lunella, therefore we were really close family friends. We went to every gathering and celebration together. I went to my room and took a shower. Following that, I had a late lunch. Tessa came to my house in the evening. I was dressed casually in blue jeans and a loose black shirt. My hair was pulled back into a high ponytail. I did not want to draw attention to myself. "Let's go," I said to Tessa. We hopped in her car and drove to the club where our seniors were throwing the party. We walked inside the club. My attention was drawn to the smoke and the loud music. I had never been to a club before, so it was a whole new experience for me. "Let's go out and have some drinks," Tessa remarked, pulling me along with her. I saw that practically every popular student in our school had attended this party. Suddenly, I saw Evan conversing with someone. "I am coming right away," I said to Tessa before walking up to Logan. We were not strangers, we were family friends. I approached him and came to a halt behind him. "Logan," he turned to face me. I smiled at him, but then I saw his ex-girlfriend Lila standing in front of him. "Yes?" he asked. I had no idea what to say to him or how to greet him. "Hi." He just nodded his head and turned around without replying. I took a step back, but I could hear the girl. "You know her?" Like she is someone who can be used. She is not my type." I overheard his response. Did he know I was still standing behind him? How could he possibly say such a thing to others? I was not his type? Why? I clenched my fists. My tears had made my eyes glossy. Nothing was clearly visible to me. I saw a haze. I took a few steps back. My back was suddenly crushed against a hard chest. I turned back right away but could not see anything since I was in tears. I blinked a few times, and my vision started to clear. I saw a pair of black eyes staring at me. My gaze was pulled to the facial features. Black hair, a strong jawline, thick brows, and a fair and clean face. I saw his eyes going down to my clothes before returning to my face. Then I heard his deep, icy voice. "Who are you?" Chapter 2. Who are you? I came back to my senses and backed away from the boy. I looked away and tried to find my words. "From your looks, I can say you don't belong here." I wiped away my tears. I glared at the boy because of his rude statement. My glare made him speechless. I turned my head to glance at Logan, who was still conversing with Lila. Then I walked past the boy who had just spoken rudely to me. He could not possibly claim that I did not belong here. What exactly did he mean? I could not come to the club because I was not wearing a short dress? I was also irritated at Logan. In truth, I was mostly upset with him. I had feelings for him for a long time. But he destroyed my heart without even speaking to me. I went back to Tessa. She looked at my face carefully and asked, "What happened?" "Nothing." "What nothing? Didn't Logan break up with her 2 years ago? Why is he with her now? Or are they just talking about random things?" "Something like that," I mumbled. When we heard a boy's voice over the speakers, everyone started cheering for something. We turned our attention to the dance floor, where a senior year student held a microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the most eligible bachelor who drew everyone's attention with a single glance, whose lifestyle is the dream lifestyle for us boys, who returned today to his pack and his pack's people, who will join our school tomorrow to shake all the girls' hearts. Please welcome Lucas." Everyone cheered and applauded loudly. I almost became deaf when the girls next to me started screaming. "What's so good about this Lucas?" I thought. But my eyes went wide when I saw who Lucas was. "It's him," I muttered when I saw the boy who I had just bumped into a few minutes ago. I heard other girls' voices. "Oh my God! He is so handsome! He is so hot. Look at his hairstyle. He indeed came from abroad with a dashing look and well-built body. Can't ignore his stunning face either. I thought only Logan could be so handsome like this. But now I can say someone is more handsome than him. Oh. Come on. Logan is more handsome. Take a look at him. He will be our alpha in the future. Lucas can't have the aura he has. And I heard Lucas is a playboy. He only likes to play. The two brothers are totally opposite from each other. So much bickering was going on here and there among girls where boys seemed envious as they looked at Lucas. It might be because of his carefree lifestyle. Tessa turned to me and spoke out, I can say, a new Dumbo joined our school. I looked at her and chuckled. Why? Look at this young man. Wasn't his brother enough to cause a drama? Now that he has joined, we can expect more girls to scream over both of them. I believe our students are watching too many school dramas. As a result, they are emulating it in order to experience such drama in real life. I cast a peek toward Lucas, who had just opened the bottle of champagne. Everyone drew their glasses closer to him. One thing I must say, Tessa said. What? She whispered, he is indeed more handsome than your Logan. I groaned and grabbed her wrist. What happened? Can we leave now? Please stay for a while. We just got here. At least for half an hour? Please. I could not say no to Tessa. She enjoyed attending parties. Just because I did not like it or was offended by Logan did not mean I had to spoil Tessa's happy times. I nodded, and she led me to the bar. Just ignore that jerk, Tessa murmured to me, motioning to Logan. We sat a bit away from Logan. He appeared to be in a bad mood. I remembered his mood being low in the morning as well. Did he truly have a rough relationship with his brother? Lila spoke something to him, and Logan shifted his tool towards us. I was surprised when he glanced at me. I could not look away from his deep, dark eyes. He averted his gaze and returned his attention to Lila before shaking his head. Lila said something again and laughed. This girl must be up to something. She is clinging to Logan like super glue. They broke up and haven't gotten back together after all these times. So, why now? Tessa said. Yet. I nodded as I did not have the answer either. I glanced at the waiter. What would you like to drink, miss? Water. Are you sure? Yet. Okay. Tessa requested a drink of beer, and the waiter gave me a glass of water. I did not enjoy drinking. It was not like my parents would chastise me for it, but I did not like it. The loud music began to make people's heads spin. People started dancing as they had never danced before. There were many boys and girls drinking. Some of them began to make out as if it was the best place for it. Tessa introduced me to two girls named Lily and Alisa. They seemed to be cheerful girls. Tessa encouraged me to join them in the dance, but I refused. I assured her she may go to the dance and that I would wait patiently for her return. She was first concerned, but Lily persuaded her that I would be fine sitting there. I could see Tessa dancing on the dance floor. At the party, she was having a fantastic time. I grinned as I saw her smile and bounce to the music. I started to become bored after a few minutes. When I took out my phone, I discovered 5 missed calls. I scolded myself when I saw the missed calls from my father's phone number. Tessa, who was dancing, caught my eye. I did not bother her and went in search of a quiet place to call my father. I proceeded to the far left side corner of the club. I could hear the music starting to fade as I stepped inside. But my steps halted when I spotted a guy making out with a girl. The boy's hands tightened around the girl's waist. His face was buried in her neck. My phone's screen lit up, and a ringtone began to play. As if his make-out session had been interrupted, the boy shifted his enraged gaze to my side. In the dim light, I could see his face. You. Chapter 3. You. It was none other than Lucas. I felt disgusted. He had only recently returned to this pack and was already making out with girls. He arched an eyebrow and replied, "Yeah, it's me, and for your kind information, it's my party, baby." I got angry when he addressed me as baby. My phone kept ringing, so I ignored him and continued walking. I came to a stop a short distance away and received the call. "Dad, where are you, Alisa?" "Well, Dad, I came to a party." "A party? What party?" My father's voice came out desperately. He always cared about me a lot. Since I was an Omega, he and my mother cared about my safety. "My school's party. I came here with Tessa. So don't worry, Dad. She will drop me off at home." "That's a relief. You were not receiving calls, so your mom got worried. Tell her that I will come back soon." "Okay, take care and come back safely." "Yes, Dad." He hung up the call, and I sighed. I did not tell him that I was in a club. I was not a kid anymore. So they did not need to worry about me. I turned around to go back to Tessa. But the moment I turned, I gasped. "Done talking." I glared at Lucas. "You almost scared me to death." The left corner of his lips lifted slightly. "Well, most of the girls died on my handsome face, baby." He winked at me and chuckled after seeing my stunned reaction. He did not look like someone I could mess with. His black clothing gave him a dark aura. I did not tell him who I was. He might not recognize me, just like I didn't when I first saw him. I took a step to pass by his side, but he stopped me. "Where are you going?" "Let me go," I said with a cold tone. "Tisk. What about the damage you caused?" When I heard his words, I looked up at him. He was very tall. He was indeed handsome, but it did not grab my attention. He was not a good boy. "What damage are you talking about?" I asked. "You just ruined my sweet time with a beauty. Now who will pay the compensation?" I was confused. What exactly was he talking about? He took a step closer to me, and I was startled. The buttons on his shirt were undone. Under the dim light from behind me, I could see his chest. Esto quat es, it was written across the right side of his ribcage. It was almost 6 inches high, wrapping around the majority of his side, and it was hard to miss. Before his body almost touched mine, I pushed his chest hard with my hands. "Stay away from me." I rushed out of the corner but bumped into another person. How come I keep bumping into people today? I sighed and grumbled. Unfortunately, it was Logan. When he noticed me coming around the corner, he grimaced. When he peered behind me, his expression became solemn. Lucas appeared around the corner as I turned my head. He smirked at Logan when he spotted him. I returned my gaze to Logan. "Excuse me." I moved away from Logan and reached the dance floor. Tessa was nowhere to be found. I started to look for her. To locate Tessa, I continued lightly pushing people on the dance floor. A hand grabbed my hand and drew me away from the crowd. "Here you are. Where were you?" "When I came back to the bar side, I could not find you," Tessa said while huffing. "Dad called me, so I went to take his call." "I thought I lost you at the club," Tessa said and hugged me. Let's go back, I murmured. She nodded at me, and we went out of the club. I took a deep breath as the fresh air reached my face. I felt smothered on the inside until I got out and felt alive. Partying was definitely not my thing. Clubs were not my place. I was happy with a simple life. These people were not like me. Their lives were drastically different from mine. We walked to Tessa's car and got in. Tessa started the car. Where were you, by the way? I looked for you in almost the whole club. I was in a corner. Oh. I didn't search the corners. My bad. I glanced outside. Why is your mood off? I met the most ridiculous man I have ever seen. Who? Someone who only knows how to disturb girls. I heard the sound of a chuckle. I turned my head toward Tessa. What? I asked. You look irritated. Who made my bestie angry? That Lucas. I muttered. What? She shouted. Hey, stop shouting. Focus on the road. I don't want to die. Alisa, what did he do? Nothing. I ruined his lovely time, so he asked for a substitute. What the hell? Yeah, exactly. I pushed him hard before he could get close to me. That bastard. I exhaled when Tessa started to curse Lucas. Alisa, stay away from Lucas. I got to know many things about him. He was a playboy at his last school. Everyone from the outside knows him, especially girls. He is very popular among girls. He does not date but only few. Okay, stop it. I shouted and stopped her from telling me more. I don't want to hear those stupid things. Okay. Tessa shut her mouth and kept driving quietly. We reached my home. I got out of the car. Thanks, Tessa. I should not have asked you to go with me. I only made you feel bored. No, I enjoyed the moment with you. So thanks again. It was a new experience. Tessa nodded and smiled, then she drove away. I entered my house and saw my parents waiting for me. We had dinner together, then I went to sleep. The next morning, I woke up early. After I had finished getting dressed for school, my mother insisted that I eat breakfast before leaving the house. My father chuckled, "What's the hurry? Dad, I will be late." Tell them your father took your time, so you became late. I shook my head. Dad, no one knows that I am the beta's daughter. Why? I don't want to grab any attention. They will start to treat me differently, which I don't want. Just like they treat Logan. My mother spoke out, Lucas is also going to join your school. I nodded and kept eating. Lunella told me to tell you if you could show him around since he is new. I paused and thought, yeah, he is new and has started to make out with girls already. Suddenly, my father shook his head. No, he is not like Logan. You can be friends with Logan, but not Lucas. I don't want you to be around him, okay? I looked at my father with confused eyes, but then I realized that everyone knew about Lucas's personality. So it was good to be far away from him. Don't worry, Dad. I will stay away from him. My mother did not say anything. We had breakfast silently after that. I caught a bus to go to school. When I arrived at my school, I noticed that the girls were in a variety of moods. Some of them appeared pleased, while others were depressed. I was strolling through the hallway. My gaze was drawn to Logan. Lila was there with him. Their arms were locked, and they headed to a class. Did they patch up last night? I wondered. I felt heartbroken. I turned aside and went to the locker room. I unlocked my locker but was taken aback when someone slammed the door and stood behind me. In shock, I turned around. What made you think I could not recognize you, Alisa Clark? Chapter 4. I stared at Lucas. There was an amazement in his eyes as if he had just caught me red-handed. He raised a brow. What? I averted my gaze from him and looked around to see if anyone had heard him. Everyone was looking at us while whispering to each other. He was not loud enough to be heard. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. I opened my eyes and looked up at him. Can you just move? Why? What do you want, Lucas? Why didn't you tell me about yourself when I asked you who you were? I rolled my eyes. I didn't find it important to tell you about myself. And we are not that close anyway. He was silent. I glanced at him, thinking I might be a little bit rude. But I was so wrong. He was smirking. I wanted to smack his smirk. Lucas, what are you doing with her? I heard a voice and looked behind him. It was Sophia. She was our Pax Delta's daughter. Everyone knew about her identity, and that was why she roamed around our school like a queen. Her first target was Logan, however, he never gave a damn about her. Lucas moved back from me and turned around. Nothing, sweetie. I thought I needed someone to show me around the school. What? You should tell me that. Let's go. I will show you around. Sophia said happily. A few girls looked interested too. I felt sick looking at them. How could they like a boy like Lucas? Unless they were also up for a one-night stand like him. Lucas turned to me. And you? I looked at him. I was afraid he would tell everyone about me. Nice to meet you, baby. He snickered and winked at me. I was dumbfounded. He turned around and walked to Sophia. He wrapped his hand around her waist, and they headed to see around the whole school. Everyone was still looking at me. I felt so angry that I could not explain it. I was fuming. He just gave others a reason to pay attention to me, which I did not like from the start. Tessa rushed to me. Is everything okay? She asked with a worried face. What would happen? I saw Logan and Lila. Then I saw Lucas and Sophia coming out from this side. Now everyone is staring at you. Nothing happened. Lucas was annoying me. He what? Why? I shook my head and opened my locker again. What are you all looking at? I heard Tessa yelling at others. Everyone looked away from me. Tessa had an aura to shut anyone down, I must say. She was a beta female. She also took out her books, and we went to our classes. When it was the last class, it was a combined class with all year students. Schedule-wise, Tessa was not in the class with me today. I was not friendly with others, so every time, I had to attend the class alone. However, Logan was also in this class. I looked around and saw there were 2 empty seats at the back, beside the window. But then I saw who was sitting in front of those seats. Logan and Lila were sitting there. I bit my lips nervously and walked ahead. I did not look at Logan. The way he insulted me last night was enough to make me avoid him, and he had a girlfriend again. So I should retain myself. I sat on the seat behind Lila. I tried to avoid looking in front. I looked outside from the window. The sky was clear today. It was a sunny day. Sunlight fell on my bench from the window. Mister, you are late. I heard Professor Williams' voice. I turned my head and saw Lucas standing at the door. Well, I was busy looking around, Professor. he replied carelessly. Professor William was tough. He did not even treat Logan like a king, so Lucas was not special to him either. It's your first class, so I'm letting it go. Next time, don't be late. Otherwise, give me detention or cut my marks. It's okay, Professor. Take it easy. The way Lucas interrupted Mr. William, it made others shock. Lucas looked around, and his eyes met mine. His infamous smirk came back to his face. Look how hot he is. I heard some girls. How could they whisper so loudly? I tried to hide my face with my hands from Lucas immediately. Logan turned his head to me as if he saw who Lucas was looking at. I did not look at Logan. Why would I? Didn't he say I was not his type? Stop hiding, baby. You are not even hiding properly. Come here. Let me hide you in my jacket. Everyone heard Lucas and laughed. I moved my hands from my face and glared at Lucas, who was now standing beside me. Attention, everyone! Professor William shouted at everyone. I glanced at the other girls. They were glaring at me as if I had committed a crime. What? Do they think I am with him? He just came back yesterday. What's wrong with them? Focus, focus. Or do you want to go on a detention with me? I heard Lucas again. I closed my eyes and tightened my fists. This boy was getting on my nerves. Why was he even talking to me? We did not know each other that well. Well, I sometimes went to the pack house with my mother when I was a kid. So I saw him for quite some time. That was it. Or we played 1 or 2 times, maybe, not more than that. I avoided him and tried to give my attention to the class. Please try to understand everything, and I will not repeat it again. Professor William said this and turned to the projector to show something. However, my eyes were on Logan. He did not look okay in his seat there. His face was gloomy. I did not see Lila talk to him in the whole class. Another thing I noticed was that these 2 brothers never talked to each other. There was a rumor that they did not like each other. Why was that? I somehow got lost in Logan's side profile. He was the only one for me. No matter who came in front of me, I would choose him without any second thought. However, his face also reminded me of what he said last night in the club. Suddenly, I felt a breath in my right ear. I almost gasped loudly but prevented myself when I heard Lucas. I see. You are in love with him. Chapter 5. It had been 1 week since I started to avoid Logan. That day, I did not reply to his brother, Lucas. He said I was in love with Logan. I was surprised at first, but then I realized he could read my eyes when I was looking at his brother. After that day, he did not come to bother me again. He became very popular in our school. As Tessa said, he did not date. I only saw him with different girls each time. Logan also looked strange whenever he was around me. I did not know why. Since I was avoiding him, I should not think about it either. My honey's birthday is tomorrow. I am so excited. I heard Tessa cheer up about my birthday. It was going to be my 18th birthday. I somehow felt nervous. It was the time when werewolves found their mates. If before that someone marked me, I could be his mate. But I had not mated with someone yet, so I would get someone as my mate. What are you thinking? Tessa patted my shoulder. I shook my head. Nothing. Are you still thinking about Logan? I sighed. I was not, but at the same time, yes, I was thinking about him. His relationship with Lila was not clear. He did not declare it either. But I was not his type, and my birthday was tomorrow, so I had to think only about my mate. Since he did not like me, I should not think about him either. I am worried about my mate. I explained to Tessa. Don't worry. He will understand you. You know a mate can change your life with happiness. I nodded my head. But it was not that. I always felt like Logan was my mate. I felt that for a long time. I felt somehow connected with him. I was sure he could not feel that otherwise, he would at least try to talk to me about it. We talked for some time and then went back to our classes. After my last class, I was waiting for Tessa. I was passing a few classrooms when I heard growls. My legs stopped. I turned my head towards the classroom and went close to the door. The hallway was empty. I looked around and discovered that I was the only one there. Suddenly, I heard the sound of a thud. I immediately opened the door and saw two boys holding each other's collars. I was shocked when I saw their faces. Logan! I shouted and rushed to him. But before I could reach him, Lucas had already thrown a punch in his face. Blood was coming out of the corner of Logan's lip. Logan backed away, and his back rested on a wall. I cupped his cheeks and asked, "Are you okay? What is happening?" He frowned when he saw me. He slightly moved my hand from his face. My own actions astounded me. Logan wiped the blood off his lips with his thumb. I looked at Lucas, who was glaring at me. "What's happening? Why are you hitting him?" I asked him. He stared at me for a few seconds, and his eyes became dark, which made me frightened. In those days, he only behaved childishly with me. I had never seen him like this. I remembered when he was a kid, he always got mad at others. Without my realization, Logan walked to him and punched him hard. I was shocked. They started to fight again. Like wild beasts, they were up to each other's necks. "Can you both stop?" I said and tried to move Logan. I did not know what to do. Should I call someone for help? One of them broke his lips, and the other broke his cheek. What would I do? I tried again to move them but got pushed by them. Ah! I fell on a wall and got hurt in my head. I held my forehead. Logan and Lucas both stopped fighting and looked at me. They looked stunned. They did not think that I would get hurt. "What happened to you?" Logan said and rushed to me. Lucas was standing where he was while looking at me. I felt dizzy. "Don't fight." I felt darkness engulf me and everything blanked around me. When I woke up I saw a white ceiling. I tried to sit up but felt a hand pushing my shoulder lightly. "Don't sit up. You need some rest." I heard Tessa. I turned my head to the right side and saw that she was sitting on a tool close to the bed. I touched my forehead and felt a band-aid on the left side of my forehead. "What happened?" I asked her. I remembered the fight and then suddenly I got hurt. "I called you." Logan received the call and told me to come to this infirmary. "Logan? How is he?" "He looked fine to me. Just a cut in his lips." "Where is he?" "He left the moment I came here." I nodded and closed my eyes. I took some rest and Tessa waited for me for an hour while sitting there. I stood up. The nurse told me I was fine to go. I took a painkiller and went out of the hospital with Tessa. She dropped me home and told me to take care of myself. When I entered my home, my mom saw my forehead and asked, "What happened to you? You got hurt?" "Mom, I was feeling weak then I slipped." "You need to eat more. Should we go to the pack doctor for a checkup?" She looked hella worried. No, Mom. I am totally fine. I just need some rest. She stroked my head and nodded. I went to my room and lay on my bed. I thought about today's fight. Why were they fighting? When it was night time, I was going to have dinner when my mother came with a bag. Wear this and come down, honey. It was a beautiful brown-colored dress inside the bag. I took it out and smiled. Mom, you did not have to do this. She kissed my forehead and said, your dad threw a party tonight. Tessa is waiting for you downstairs. I was not surprised. Every year my father called Tessa and arranged a small party for us four, on my birthday night. I was happy with it. Okay, Mom. I replied with a bright smile. But my smile froze when I heard my mother's next sentence. It's such an honor that Alpha Neil and his family also came tonight to celebrate your birthday with us. Chapter 6. Alisa, my dear, everyone is waiting for you downstairs. Come fast. My mother shouted from downstairs. I was in a daze when my mother left my room. She told me that Alpha Neil's family had come. That meant Logan also came here. I shook my head. No, no. I cannot think about him anymore, I told myself. I glanced at myself in the mirror. I was in a long brown dress. It was a simple yet pretty dress. My mother chose it for me. It was my birthday gift from her. I was not particularly eager to put on much makeup, so I only applied mascara and light pink lipstick. I left my room and went downstairs. I was stunned when I saw the decorations in my own house. It appeared to be rather fascinating. There were so many flowers everywhere, and the fragrance of roses tickled my nostrils. When did they do all of these? I thought. I smiled and went to the living room. The moment I entered, a pair of arms wrapped around my body and hugged me. You look so pretty. I smiled at my best friend. My parents loved her too. She was my best friend, so my birthday party without her was impossible. Thank you, bestie, I replied. She moved away from me, and I noticed others in the room. My father, mother, Alpha Neil, Luna Ella, and the brothers. Logan looked disturbed, and I did not know why. On the other hand, Lucas looked at me as if he were amazed. I looked away from them. My child, come here. Your daughter is a big girl now, Glenn. Alpha Neil said this to my father and reached out a hand to me. I smiled lightly. I walked to him and held his hand. Alpha, I last saw you 2 years ago. After that, your mother never took you to the pack house with her. He complained. My mother shook her head. My apologies, Alpha. I will take her with me next time. How beautiful she is looking. Joey, we should meet more. Luna Ella said to my mother while stroking my hair. I blushed when I heard her. We sat and talked about the old days. I glanced at Logan. Surprisingly, he was also looking at me. I wanted to look away, but my eyes did not listen to my mind, but to my heart. He averted his gaze, took out his phone, and started to use it. I took a close look at him. He was dressed in a white shirt and black jeans. His fair neck complemented the white shirt. His muscles were practically visible through his shirt. I was about to look away but stopped when I felt a gaze over me. My eyes moved to the right side of Logan. Lucas was staring at me. His black jacket and black pants gave him a mafia look. He must be feeling bored since he could not see any girls here to flirt with. I thought. Luna Ella noticed me looking at Lucas. Do you know Lucas? She asked me. Before I could answer, Alpha Neil replied, How could she know him? She is a good girl. Your son could not be on a good girl's knowing list. Everyone became silent. It looked like the rumor was correct. Alpha Neil and Lucas definitely did not have a good relationship. Dad, I heard Logan's voice and turned my head to him. He called Alpha Neil Dad and Luna Ella Mom from his childhood after his parents' deaths. Logan shook his head at Alpha Neil, as if telling him not to argue. Yes, you are right, Alpha. I think I should not have come to this party either. Lucas's voice echoed in the room. He stood up and headed to the main door. Logan stood up and went on behind him. They went out of our house. What drama are they doing? Did they plan to ruin my best friend's birthday? Tessa muttered angrily. I held her hand softly to stop her from whispering at that moment. Alpha, calm down. My father said to Alpha Neil. Luna Ella looked upset. I glanced outside and saw Logan grab Lucas's arm and pull him somewhere. 2 minutes left. Tessa stood up and tried to ease the atmosphere. She went to the kitchen room and came out with a big cake. Wow, I mumbled. It was a beautiful cake with white-pink colored decorations. 1 and 8 candles were lit up in the center of the cake to show that the birthday girl was going to turn 18 years old. When the clock turned 12 a.m., I stood up, and everyone gathered around me. I did not think about anyone else at that moment. I closed my eyes and made a wish for myself in my mind. I hope I will get my mate soon and move on with my life. I opened my eyes and blew out the 2 candles. Everyone clapped and cheered for me. I cut the cake, and everyone wished me luck. My mother almost cried when I turned 18. It was an age when werewolves became adults and started to find their mates. After that, they started their families. Happy birthday! Tessa made me eat a whole big piece of the cake. I giggled and took a tissue to wipe my lips. Others laughed at us. Where are they? Let me check. Luna Ella said she wanted to go outside to check on Logan and Lucas. It's okay, Luna. Alisa, go and call them inside. My father stopped her and asked me to go outside. I could not deny him. I headed to the main door. When I came out of my house, I started to feel strange. My breath started to become heavy, and my heart began to beat fast. I felt the scent of dark chocolate. It had not only a chocolatey smell but also something addictive. I stepped to find the scent, to search for the owner of this scent. I strolled ahead and started to walk on the road. Suddenly, my steps halted when I saw 2 figures standing beside the road. I could see their backs facing me. I was a little farther from them. My wolf started to growl in happiness because she had finally found her mate. It was one of them. My wolf began to chant, "Mate." But the moment one of them turned around with red eyes, I could not control my tongue and let out, "Mate." Chapter 7. Mate. His eyes were gazing into mine. I could not describe how I felt at that time. In fact, I could not believe it. Logan is my mate. It was like a dream I had been dreaming of for a long time came true. I loved him from my childhood days. We were kids. He always played with me, and we became playmates. But then he started to go to training to become an alpha and I was busy with my studies. However, I was in the same middle school as him. My eyes always followed him wherever he went. One day, I was going back home alone. That night, I was trapped in danger. A few hooligans were passing the road and saw me. They tried to molest me, but in that hazardous moment, Logan saved me. He did not even think about himself and protected me. Only Alpha and my father knew about this incident. They didn't tell Luna and my mother about it. They did not want to make them worry. However, after that night, my love for Logan turned deep. I could not think of anyone else in my life except him. I could not believe that destiny was always on my side. He was my mate, that was why I always fell for him, no matter how much I tried to stay away. I stared at Logan. He parted his lips to say something but stopped himself. One thing I could see was that he was not looking surprised. Did he know about it? I thought. I stepped towards him. My attention was so focused on him that I almost missed Lucas standing beside him. I stood in front of Logan. He also gaped at me. I smiled at him and said, "Mate," I heard someone clear his throat. I turned my head beside Logan. Lucas was still there. He glanced at me and then at Logan. He came closer to me and whispered in my ear, "Bingo! You have got your prince." "Oh, sorry, your king and your mate." I did not reply to him. I just want to see Logan. There were so many things that I wanted to ask Logan. Lucas moved back and left the place, leaving me and Logan alone. I turned to Logan and wanted to hear his thoughts. His glowing red eyes turned black. He held my hand. "Come with me." His voice felt desperate to me. I was happy that he yearned to talk to me. He took me to the forest side. We entered the forest and went a little deep. He left my hand and looked at me. I smiled at him again. "I cannot believe this is true." He averted his gaze and nodded. "It's true. You are my mate. You don't look surprised." "Why, Logan? Did you know about it?" Logan was silent. I frowned at him. "Why are you not saying anything?" When I still did not get any reply, I nodded my head. "It's fine. Now everything is okay." He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He turned away from me. What happened to him? I asked myself. "Logan. Alisa, I can't accept you." I frowned when I heard him. "What?" I could see that he tightened his fists. What was wrong with him? Is it because of Lila? I asked with a bit of hope that he would tell me that he was just kidding. This time he turned to me and looked into my eyes directly. "Not because of her. It's just that I can't be with an Omega." In just one moment, my frown was removed and my brows raised. I knew I was an ordinary Omega, but I never thought I would have to hear this from him. "What do you mean?" I could not help but stutter. He shook his head. "Look, I know our families are friends. That's why I did not want to tell you about this at first. I started to feel the bond last week. However, I don't want this." I stepped back. My lips were trembling, unable to let out anything. "I knew it," I said in a lower tone. "What?" he asked. "That, I am not your type." I said that because I knew you were behind me. I looked at him. "And you still say that? You plan to break my heart?" He looked away from me. "I don't know what you feel for me, but no. You really don't know how I feel for you." I shouted at him. I could not prevent myself anymore. I wanted to tell him how I felt for him. I wanted to say to him that he was the only one in my heart. Though, with my shout, his eyes became dark, I forced myself to say what was in my heart. If I have ever felt for someone in my life, that's you, Logan. I fell for you. I don't even know from when. Those are your feelings, not mine. I laughed at myself. Tears rolled down my cheeks. "Then why did you save me that night? Are you crazy? If it were not you but any other girl in your place, I would do the same. You are a weak Omega, who was not able to protect yourself from danger. If there were an alpha or beta female, they would have never needed my help. His words shattered my heart. Did he plan to break me until the end? Listen to me, Alisa. I have no feelings for you. You can't force yourself on me by the name of mate bond. I am your pack's future alpha. Your Luna should be someone powerful who can save the whole pack and stand with your alpha. Not someone who herself needs protection from others. I lowered my head. I felt humiliated and ashamed. He saved me, and because of that incident, he was taunting me. I was speechless. What was this pain in my heart? I felt heavy there. Then I heard the most ruthless statement. I had never imagined that my mate would do that to me. I, Alpha Logan, reject you, Omega Alisa as my mate. Chapter 8 Third POV I, Alpha Logan, reject you, Omega Alisa as my mate. Alisa immediately grabbed her heart. She felt a loud noise in both of her ears. It did not come from outside but inside of her. She could see Logan leaving her alone in the forest. She tried her best to stand straight until he left. The moment he left, she fell to the ground and screamed in pain. Ah! She clutched her clothes, and almost pierced her nails in her palms. Why was the pain unbearable? What was happening to her? Would she die? Her head was burning like hell. Her wolf started to howl inside. She was whimpering in pain. How could he do that to her? Did he not know that by rejecting his mate, she could die too? Please help me, Moon Goddess! She begged the Moon Goddess. Though she knew there was no way to save from this intolerable pain. It was nature's law. If anyone broke it, they had to bear the consequences. However, the law was one-sided. Only the wolf who got rejected could feel the pain. But what about the wolf who rejected his mate? How could he live his life normally without feeling anything? Alisa's condition was miserable. She felt a sharp pain in her heart as if she was losing something. She lay on the ground and her eyes became heavy. It was difficult for her to keep her eyes open anymore. She started to see dark. At that time, she saw a dark silhouette coming close to her. She tried to maintain her eyes to open, but before she could ask for help, the dark around her engulfed her totally. She fully lost consciousness. Alisa's parents were busy with talking with Alpha Neil and Luna Ella. Tessa was sending a message to Alisa about where she was. At that time, Lucas came back to Alisa's house. His arms were carrying her. She looked unconscious. Alisa! Alisa's mother Joey screamed when she saw her daughter. What happened to her? Beta Glenn, Alisa's father asked Lucas. Lucas looked at Glenn and asked, "Where is her room?" He did not care to answer their questions. He did not know what had happened either. But what he knew was Logan did something to her. He could only guess what happened. Upstairs. The first room. Alisa's mother said. Lucas went to Alisa's room and lay her in her bed. Tessa and Joey followed him behind. He came out and went downstairs. Tessa and Joey also went there. They wanted to know the answer. She is okay. I think she felt weak so she fainted. Lucas said to everyone. Alpha Neil rushed towards him and grabbed his collar. What did you do to her? Tell me. You surely did something. She was okay when she was here. She went to call you now, what happened to her? Lucas rolled his eyes. He grabbed his father's hands and moved them from his collar. You have your favorite son. Why don't you ask your son about it rather than me? Hey? His voice was chilly. He was looking into his father's eyes directly. Everyone was shocked. No one had ever talked to Alpha Neil like that. Before Alpha Neil scolded him, he left the house without looking at anyone. This brat. As far as I can tell, he never lies. He said he did not do anything. Lunella pleaded to Alpha Neil. It's your fault. You spoiled him too much. Relax, Alpha. I called our pack doctor. He is coming. Beta Glenn said. He was also worried for his daughter. The pack doctor came to check on Alisa. He said Alisa was very weak but soon it would be okay. Why is this all happening to my child? Joey cried. Lunella patted her shoulder. Don't worry, Joey. She will be fine. The pack doctor left. Alpha Neil and Lunella also left the house. In their car, Alpha Neil called Logan. He said he was at home. He said he was feeling bored so he went back early. Meanwhile in the pack house, Logan was sitting on his bed. He did not like Alisa in any other way. How could he make his Luna an Omega girl? I am not a simple wolf like others. My whole pack's responsibility is on my shoulder. How can I let my pack in danger because of my mate? She is just a vulnerable wolf. She can't be the queen of this realm. I did nothing wrong. I just thought about my people. That's it. He made himself understand that he did the right thing. His wolf was not happy with him. His eyes turned dark. He punched the wall in anger. So what if she said she loves me? Every girl is head over heel for me. I can't love her back. I should not feel any sympathy for her. He heard the sound of shoes. He glanced at the door and the door burst open. Lucas entered the room and rushed to Logan at a high speed. Logan could not take the time to stand up. Lucas punched his cheek hard and grabbed his collar. How dare you do that? Logan scoffed and pushed him. Lucas moved back. Logan stood up and glared at him. Your hands are running too much nowadays. I am just controlling myself because of Mom, you know. Otherwise, I have hands too. Why? Lucas asked the last question again. What why? I don't want her. She is just a normal girl. She doesn't deserve to be this pack's Luna. Lucas laughed when he heard Logan. Today you made me believe that you are actually Alpha Neil's son. When I was abroad I only heard about him making you like a perfect alpha. Now I understand what others meant. You actually became a great alpha, Logan. You thought about your people and sacrificed your own mate. What a kind person you are. You have nothing to do with it. Just stay away from me and her. Logan glared and warned him. Lucas nodded his head. Since you already rejected her and she is no one to you. He paused and smirked at him, then let me have her. Chapter 9 Then let me have her. Hearing that, Logan sneered at Lucas. She knows you are a playboy. Do you think you can actually have her? Lucas shrugged his shoulders. There is nothing in this world that Lucas can't have. Don't forget who her father is. She is Beta Glenn's daughter. He will kill you. The one who rejected his daughter, talking about his capability to me. Funny, isn't it? Logan averted his gaze from Lucas. He tilted his neck. His bruised cheek by Lucas's punch was also healed in a few minutes. What if your impressed dad will get to know about his son's action? What will happen to your name in his good books, hey? Lucas said to him and raised a brow. His eyes turned dark. If you want to tell him, you can. I am no one to stop you. Are you serious? A coward like you who could not dare to accept an Omega, talk like this. Logan turned around. I am already messed up. Just leave me alone. Lucas nodded his head. Looks like you are not happy after rejecting her. Why? He stepped toward him and whispered in his ear, are you regretting it already, brother? Logan turned and pushed him. She is just a normal girl like others. Why would I regret it? She is no match for me. She knows that. I don't even like her. So shut your mouth and get out of my room. Lucas smiled at him. I see. Okay then. He was about to leave when Logan spoke out, stay away from her. She will not be one of your playthings. Lucas scoffed when he heard him. Bye, my alpha brother. Then Lucas left Logan's room. Logan stared at the door which was just shut by Lucas. He did not know why, but he got enraged when Lucas said about taking Alisa. He lay down on his bed, one hand behind his head. He closed his eyes and the pain in her eyes when he rejected her flashed in his mind. I should have given her some time before rejecting her. She is an omega. It might be painful. He thought. He opened his eyes and sat up. He shook his head. What are you thinking, Logan? She is just a girl, you know. You just could not make her your Luna. Lila is an alpha female. So she is the better option. Yes, she is the best option for this pack too. Moonlight Crown is the largest pack among the all packs. I could not risk my pack with this silly mate thing. I don't even like her. So I made the right decision. He told himself, or he could say convince himself. Lucas was heading downstairs. He saw his parents had just entered the pack house. Alpha Neil looked at him and asked, tell me truly what you did with her. He stopped and frowned at his father. His parents came to him and stood in front of him. Luna Ella gulped when she saw her husband was fuming. She could not help and asked her son, dear, why was she with you? You were with Logan, right? Where was he at that time? Why did you take Alisa back alone? Lucas was stunned that his mother also doubted him. For once he wanted to tell them about what Logan did. He parted his lips but paused when he heard his father. What are you saying? Have you lost your mind, Ella? Do you think Logan could do anything bad to any girl? You know how reserved he is. He doesn't have any scandal either. But this spoiled brat is the one who is always in controversy with women. Ask him what he did. It's not his foreign country but Moonlight Crown Pack. Glenn is not just my beta but my best friend. I know he will never say anything to me. But I saw how hurt he was when he saw her daughter in that miserable state. Her hair was messed up. Her makeup was ruined as if she cried. Do you think it was a normal fact? Do you think Logan could be the reason behind it? Impossible. I can't even ask him about it. He will take all the blame on behalf of his brother. Lucas rolled his eyes. He nodded his head. So what do you want me to answer? Do you want to hear that I did something to her? Then okay, fine. I tried to molest her. Is that now okay? Before Lucas could complete, he felt a slap in his right cheek. It was so hard that he almost felt his cheekbone broken. Neil! Luna Ella shouted when she saw her husband slap her son. Lucas turned his head slowly to his father. His eyes were profound that made almost shook his parents, but they were also powerful. The Alpha and Luna of Moonlight Crown were not fearful of anyone, and it was just their son. Why am I not surprised, Alpha Neil? He said while gritting his teeth. Alpha Neil glared at him. Stay away from her. I don't want you to be around her. She is precious to us, a family member. You can't touch her. An illumination of hatred glowed inside Lucas's eyes. I will not let you stay peacefully with your son. Just mark my word, Alpha Neil. Luna Ella gasped. Lucas, my child, listen to me. Don't do anything stupid. Lucas did not listen to his mother and left the pack house furiously. He had only one place to ease his mind. He dialed a number. I am coming to the club. Meet me in 10 minutes. He hung up and got in his car, then left for the club. Alisa could see herself. She was in a dark forest. It was a full moon night. She was all alone in the forest and lost her way to go back. Suddenly she heard growls. She turned around and saw 2 black wolves were rushing toward her. They both looked dangerous to her. No, she said and started to run away from them. She did not know where she was going. All she wanted was to save herself. However, she could not escape. She felt them close behind her. She could not help but scream, "No!" Alisa opened her eyes and sat up. She was huffing. She was sweating. She wiped the cold sweat from her forehead and sighed. It was just a dream. I was scared to death, she said, and was about to get down from the bed. But her eyes widened. She frowned her brows and placed her hand on her heart. She could not feel anything inside. Her lips quivered. Where is my wolf? Chapter 10. Everyone was worried for Alisa. Tessa just left the house after assuring Alisa's mother that she would be okay. Beta Glenn and his wife Joey left Alisa's room half an hour ago. They would check on her in the morning. All of a sudden they heard Alisa's scream. No. Beta Glenn looked at Joey, she also looked at her husband. Alisa. They let out and went on upstairs. They opened the door and saw Alisa crying. What happened, my princess? Beta Glenn asked and hugged her. Joey started to cry when she saw Alisa crying. What happened to her daughter? Alisa shook her head when she realized that her parents came to see her. She wiped her tears and replied, Nothing, Mom and Dad. They looked at her carefully. Why are you crying? Joey asked. Alisa was silent. It's okay if you don't want to say anything, Beta Glenn said. Alisa shook her head. Her voice was hoarse. She replied with that broken voice. I just had a nightmare. Beta Glenn and Joey felt relieved when they heard her. Don't worry. We are always with you, my child, Joey said. Alisa nodded her head. She heard her father ask with a serious tone, What happened that you fainted a few hours ago? Alisa had already remembered all the things that happened to her. Her rejection, the pain after that, everything. She tightened her fists on the bed sheets. Who took me here? Lucas took you here, Joey replied. Tell me without any fear, Alisa. Did he do anything to you? Don't worry about his dad. I will punish him by my way, Beta Glenn assured her. Alisa frowned when she heard that. What? No, Dad. What are you saying? Lucas did not do anything. In fact, she paused. She wanted to tell them it was not Lucas but Logan who did wrong to her, who broke the law after getting his mate. He rejected her because of her low rank. He thought she did not deserve him. In fact, what? She glanced at her father and then at her mother. She did not want to break her parents' hearts. They would feel heartbroken if they heard about their daughter's broken mate bond. So she took a deep breath and lied to them. In fact, I was lost in the forest while looking for those 2 brothers. I was exhausted and fainted. Lucas helped me to get here. Nothing else. Beta Glenn's face became calm as if something heavy moved from his chest. Joey smiled at Alisa. It's a relief that nothing wrong happened to you. I am happy that you are okay. The doctor also said that you are just tired and weak. You need to eat more, okay? Yes, Mom. She mumbled. Good night. You need rest. And happy birthday once again, my princess. Thanks, Dad. Joey kissed her forehead. Sleep tight. Alisa nodded and smiled at them. They left her room. She stood up and closed the door. She did not forget to lock it. Then she ran to the bathroom and opened the shower. She started to cry loudly. She wanted to let out all of the pain in her chest. Did I lose you? She asked her wolf. She could not get any reply. It felt like a curse. What happened to her wolf? Was her wolf dead? Why are you not responding to me? She slid against the wall and pulled her legs to her chest. She screamed as she thought how disgusting Logan was. How could you do that to me? All of my life I wanted you as my mate, but what did you do? You rejected me without thinking twice. All you want is a high-ranked woman. You don't have a heart. She got mad at herself that she had been in love with such a man. I just hate you, Logan. I hate you. She did not sleep the whole night. When it was early morning, she dressed up and went out of her house. It was too early for anyone to wake up. So she did not tell her parents. She took a cab and went directly to the PAC hospital. When the cab stopped in front of the hospital, she gave the money to the driver. The driver took it but stared at her. What? She asked furiously. She was in a really bad mood. Miss, are you okay? The driver asked. Alisa did not understand why the driver said that. But then her eyes fell on the side mirror. She could see her dark circles and red swollen eyes. She bit her lips and shook her head. No, I am not. But thank you for asking, brother. She replied and entered the PAC hospital. She took an appointment and waited on the bench for the head doctor. Miss Alisa. The receptionist called her name. She stood up and went to the chamber of the head PAC doctor. Dr. Linus. Alisa? What are you doing here? Dr. Linus asked. He was a young Delta. But he decided to serve the whole PAC and became the head doctor of the Moonlight Crown PAC. He was a family doctor of the head Alpha and the officials. So Alisa knew him well. I came to ask you something. She said and sat on the chair. I went to your house last night. You were sick. I had a feeling something was wrong. But I didn't say anything to your parents. I wanted to check on you when you woke up. It's good that you have come by yourself. However, what's wrong with your eyes? Did you cry? Dr. Linus asked and looked at her carefully. My mate rejected me, Linus. She said in a lower tone. She could not hide it from her doctor who could help her to learn the situation. What? He was shocked. He stood up immediately. Alisa nodded her head. I can't feel my wolf, Linus. What happened to her? Did I lose her? She stuttered. Dr. Linus checked on her. He sighed and took out a tonic. Then placed it on the table in front of Alisa. Your wolf is not dead. But she caged herself inside you. She needs time, Alisa. She had to bear the pain of a sin which is forbidden to accomplish. Alisa was thankful to the moon goddess that she did not take her wolf away from her. I am surprised that you are not in an alarming situation like other rejected wolves usually are. What do you mean? Dr. Linus shook his head and made a shocking statement. Only a powerful high-ranked wolf can come out of the consequences of rejection. But you are an Omega, how did you do that, Alisa? Chapter 11. Alisa POV. I was flabbergasted when I heard Dr. Linus. What is he saying? A powerful high-ranked wolf can only do that? If it's true, then how did I survive? It is indeed questionable, I thought. Dr. Linus patted my head when he saw me lost in some thoughts. Don't think too much. We all are moon children. You may get some blessings. That's why you are totally fine. However, it could take your wolves or your life too. I smiled at him sadly. I wanted to laugh at myself. How foolish I was. Loving someone who did not love you back was undoubtedly a wrong decision. I made the worst choice to break my heart. If my mate was someone I did not know, then I would think less, but it was the same man I loved. Who is he? I heard Dr. Linus. I looked at him with my glossy eyes. Who is he, Alisa? I promise I won't tell anyone. You can trust me. I lowered my head. It's your alpha Logan. He gasped. He could not believe what I had just said to him. Logan was the soon-to-be head alpha. He was a good friend of Dr. Linus too. Because in any problem, Logan called Linus to treat him. A pack doctor's first priority was the head alpha and the Luna. Since Logan was the future alpha, Linus was close to him. Are you serious? Yeah. I replied in a lower tone. I knew Linus would not say anything to anyone. He would not let anything out about his future alpha to others. So I did not need to worry. I stood up and took the tonic from the table. He hurriedly looked at me. I am sorry for what happened to you. No need. Thank you. But don't tell anyone else about my wolf, especially your alpha. Okay. But you have to drink the tonic daily after 3 meals. It's a powerful potion for omegas. You can't have healing power now since your wolf is not responding to you. You are weaker now without her. So this tonic would help you a little. Thanks again. I nodded and left the pack hospital. I went back to my house and saw my parents had just woken up. They asked me about where I was. I told them I went for a normal checkup. They wished for my birthday again to make me feel special every moment. I could not destroy their happiness and did not tell them the truth. I would hide it forever. A few days passed and I shut myself in my room. I did not come out for a long time. My parents told me to go out or go to school, but I refused. I wanted to stay alone for a few days. It was Monday. I was sleeping in my room when I heard a loud ringtone. I took out my right hand from the blanket and started to search for my phone in the bed. I found it and grabbed it. This loud noise. I mumbled. It was Tessa who called me early in the morning to disturb my sleep. What? I am sleeping, I said with a sleepy voice. My eyes were closed, still yearning for sleep. You have 10 minutes. For what? To get ready and come downstairs. I opened my eyes and sat up. What the hell? Honey, our semester is coming. Our lovely professors don't know that you are their beta's daughter. So they dared to warn me to take you back to the school. It's been a week and you have been absent without any application. I rubbed my eyes. No. I don't want to go. I muttered, but again I had no reason to say them for my absence. I went to the bathroom and did my morning routine. I wore a loose dress and did a low ponytail. I looked at myself in the mirror. I wore show glasses to hide my dark circles, then went downstairs. I saw my parents were talking to each other. Tessa did not come inside the house yet. She might be in her car outside. Mom, Dad. They turned to me and smiled. Finally. You are now going to school. My mother said. I nodded at them and smiled slightly. They always told me that I have become very quiet nowadays. They had been asking me why I was shutting myself at home. I told them I did not feel well. I knew what they misunderstood about this. They thought I had a boyfriend and he might have broken up with me. So they started to tell me to move on in life. Though it was not true, their advice really worked well for me. I went out of my house and saw Tessa waiting for me in her car. I got in the car. She hugged me. I missed you so much. How are you feeling now? I am just good. Now you are back. We will punish that Logan. I swear I will kill him. Just don't talk about him. Okay, I won't. She replied. I nodded at her and she started her car. Actually, I told my best friend everything when she came to meet me once at my house. That time she was furious at Logan. But I took a promise from her that she would not tell anything to Logan or anyone. I just wanted to forget everything. We reached our school. I got down and felt somehow good since I came back after a long period. We entered the hallway and started to go to the locker to take out our things. However, a hand grabbed my hand and dragged me somewhere. Hey! Where are you taking her? Tessa shouted. I frowned when I saw who it was. What do you want? I asked. He stopped walking and turned his head to me. It was a corner where the common room was situated. The room was locked, so at this early time no one had come here yet. What do you want now, Lucas? I asked him again. There was a smug look on his face. As if my question did not reach his ears, he spoke out, "Welcome back, baby." Chapter 12. Welcome back, baby. I snatched my hand from his grip. Don't call me, baby. He scoffed at me. You can only give me this look. Otherwise, you are just a scaredy cat in front of that lover of yours. I looked away from him. My mood was destroyed by this boy. Nice. I am surprised that you are alive. From his remarks, I recognized that it was he who was coming to me when I fainted. My parents told me that he took me back home. I thought you are thank you. I said softly. He deserved that thanks anyway. He raised his brows. Wait a minute. Did I hear wrong? I shook my head. I thought I should not talk rudely to him. He saved me when no one was there for me. What if some male wolves came to attack me that night? Wow! It must be my lucky day. He smirked. That's it. I just thanked you because you helped me that night. I don't want to talk anymore. Bye. I turned around and stepped forward, but my steps were halted by him. He rejected you, didn't he? I closed my eyes. Did he hear us that night? No. He might have understood the situation. Yes, he did. I replied blankly. He turned me around by grabbing my arm. He broke your heart. I am feeling bad for you. I am a very sympathetic person, you know. I glared at him. Stop rubbing salt on my wound. He let go of my arm and nodded his head. He glanced somewhere and I saw him grinning luminously. I frowned and turned to that side. I wished I did not turn. It broke my heart into pieces. Logan was talking with his ex-girlfriend Lila. His hand was on her waist. She was very close to him. They were going somewhere. What a happy couple. I heard Lucas. I closed my eyes and sighed. What do you want? I asked him and turned to him. Nothing. I think Logan was not wrong though. Look at you. His eyes bored into me. I felt somehow nervous under his gaze. You are so old-fashioned. Shut up. I don't need your compliments. Just take it to yourself, okay? He chuckled. Okay, don't get mad at me. I was just telling you the truth. And your glasses. You look like a double battery. You even lose some weight. For what? Just because you got rejected. I shook my head. I won't understand the feelings. I don't need to talk to you. I started to walk. He came behind me and walked at my pace. Well, I have a plan for you. Plan my foot. Oh come on, baby. I stopped and pointed my finger at him. Don't call me baby again. I will kill you. Oh, baby. I would love to get killed by you. Erg, he was just too annoying. I started to walk again while ignoring him. Make him regret, Alisa. I ceased my steps. I could not understand his words. He sounded very serious. What do you mean? I asked without looking at him. Make him regret. Show him what he has missed. Make him fall for you and then. I widened my eyes. Made Logan fall for me? If that was possible, I would have happily mated with him right now. I turned to Lucas. Then what? He smirked at me. He might have some evil plan. He was not a normal boy. He had something on his mind for sure. Then break his heart. Reject him just like he did to you. I stared at him for a moment, then shook my head. Unbelievable. You are his brother. How can you make a plan like this? He raised a brow. Looks like you are still in love with him. How loyal you are. Still can't get over him. I prevented my gaze. I don't want anything. I don't want your help. So thanks. Think wisely. No need. I left the corner and called Tessa. Where are you? I asked her. First tell me, where are you? I wanted to follow behind you but a few boys stopped me. Boys? I frowned. Yeah. They must be Lucas's friends. They told me Lucas had something to talk to you about and you will come back soon. So I waited in the locker room for you. I am coming there. I hung up and went there. I met Tessa and I could not tell her what Lucas told me because it was our class time. After 3 long classes, it was our break time. Tessa took me to the cafeteria. You did not eat anything in the morning. Aunt Joey messaged me in the 2nd class. I told her that I would take care of you. Mom thinks about me for nothing. You are not totally well, Alisa. You know your wolf still needs to recover. Now if something happens to you, how will you heal if you become sick? Okay, my second mom. I am going to eat something, happy. Tessa nodded her head with a smile. We ordered and took our food to a table. My eyes fell on the specific table. Logan was sitting at the table with his friends. Lila was there too. She was sticking to him. I didn't tell you. I thought you would feel upset about it. Tessa said when she saw me looking at Logan. About what? I asked without moving my eyes from Logan. Lila went to the counter to order and he was chatting happily with his friends as if nothing happened. The day after your birthday, Logan declared to the whole school that Lila is his girlfriend now. They patched up again. Nowadays some students have started to call Lila Luna too. I regretted coming to the school. I was not prepared to hear those. What devastated me more was he did not take a day to announce his relationship. Did he not think about me for once? Did he even not think about how I was all the time? What if I had died that night? He did not care at all. Suddenly his sharp eyes met my orbs. I felt pain in my heart. I wish he could listen to me. I hate you, Logan. Chapter 13. I looked away from Logan and focused on my food. Why was I so weak in front of him? I should not behave like that. That man destroyed me totally. Suddenly someone slammed a hand on our table. I flinched at the sudden action. How dare you stare at my boyfriend? I raised my head and saw it was Lila. She went to order but might see me looking at her boyfriend. But looking at someone was not a crime. I did not go to her traitor boyfriend or something. I was looking at him with hatred at that time. What do you mean? I asked. She bent her back and whispered to me, I know everything. He rejected you. You are no longer his mate. You don't deserve such a powerful alpha like him either. You are nothing in front of him. Just look at yourself. Such an outdated ugly woman. I got mad at her. How could she say those things to me? I stood up and moved from her. I glared at her. I don't have any intentions with your boyfriend. You can solely have him. Her jaw dropped at my words. She did expect me to raise my voice in front of her. You. She rushed to me but was stopped by a boy. It was Max, one of our seniors. He was a beta. Why would he come to help me? Stop creating scenes in front of others. Max said to Lila as he grabbed her wrist. Leave me, Max. She dared to raise her voice in front of me. Don't be silly. He said angrily. Everyone was gathering around us as if some drama was going on here. Logan stood up from his seat after showing the drama of his girlfriend. I thought he would make his girlfriend understand that I was not in her way. However, again Logan proved me wrong. He came and grabbed Max's hand which was holding Lila's wrist. Don't touch my girlfriend. His words came out coldly. Max had to let go of Lila's hand. He could not argue with Alpha Logan. He was everyone's future alpha. Bae, I just told her to not look at you. Because she always stares at you. But instead of listening to me, she talked to me rudely just now. She made me feel insulted. Lila said furiously. She was Logan's girlfriend. So everyone started to call her Luna. She was already thinking of herself as the Luna of the Moonlight Crown Pack. So when I talked back to her, she could not take it. I looked at Logan. I was waiting to hear what he would say in this situation. No matter who looks at me, my eyes are always on you. So stop caring about who is peeking at me. I am their alpha, they can look at me or ask me for any help. You don't need to think about it. But Bae, you don't know about this type of girl. They can do anything to grab your attention. There is nothing special to her that can grab my attention. I stared at him with painful eyes. Why was he doing this to me? Was rejection not enough? I wanted to slap him for what he had just said. He humiliated me in front of everyone. Logan did not give a glance at me. He held Lila's hand and left the cafeteria. Behind him, his friends followed and left. I could not move from my place a little bit. Focus on what you were doing. I heard Max telling others. Though they went back to their tables, they kept glancing at me and talking about me. Are you okay? Max asked me. Hey. I looked at him and then nodded my head. I felt depressed. Did I come back to school to feel this insult? My blood was boiling. I could not tell how furious I was. My hatred for Logan was increasing. I wanted to introduce Max to you. He is my new friend. Tessa told me. I looked at her and then Max. Thank you, Max. That's okay. Don't take her words in mind. She is a crazy woman. She got back Logan after a long time, so she is feeling insecure with every girl now. I told Tessa that I wanted to leave. Inside me, I felt like crying. But there are 3 more classes left. I don't care. I am not feeling well, Tessa. You can attend the classes. Give me notes later, please. Okay, let me see you out. I nodded at her. I smiled at Max. Bye. Bye. He replied. When I and Tessa went out of the cafe, we saw Lucas leaning beside the cafe's door. Have you thought about my proposal yet? I did not stop walking. Tessa frowned and asked, Proposal? What proposal? Lucas smiled at her and walked beside her. Oh hello. Who are you, sweetie? Stop flirting with my best friend. I said. I felt annoyed. My mood was already ruined. I thought I could remove Logan from my head and mind. But he kept coming in front of me. Now he started to insult me too. Tessa, that's my name. But what is the proposal you are talking about to Alisa? It's something private, you know. Lucas said seriously. Tessa was stunned by his tone. I almost believed in his solemn face until he laughed. Don't be afraid of me. I am harmful only to boys. But with girls, my arms are always open for them. He winked at Tessa. Tessa rolled her eyes. We came to the entrance area. Then I am leaving. See you tomorrow. I told her. Call me. I need to talk to you. She said and glanced at Lucas. Okay. I assured her. Don't disturb my bestie. You have all the girls around the school. She warned Lucas. Disturb or me? You must be dreaming, sweetie. I was only trying to help your silly best friend. Tessa glanced at me. I nodded at her and she went inside. I headed to the road to go to the bus station. I wanted to go straight home. Where are you going? Lucas asked me. None of your business. I walked past him. He turned and grabbed my hand. Hey! What are you doing? He dragged me to a black car and opened the door. You are going with me. Chapter 14. You are going with me. I could not understand. What was wrong with him? Why was he after me? Where will you take me? Going to sell you to others. What? Pfft. He laughed at my reaction. I wanted to punch him. You were so scared. Do you really think I would sell you? Your father would kill me. My father was a strict man. Everyone knew him. He was the second command in our pack. But others did not know that I was his daughter, so they could behave with me whatever they wanted. I felt upset when I heard about my father. Still, your brother was not scared when he rejected me. He rejected his mate without any explanation and left me to die in the forest. I thought. I felt pushed on my arm. Lucas pushed me inside the front passenger seat when I was lost in thoughts. He came to the driver's seat and started the car. I was somehow calm. Where are we going? Your home. Where else? What? I turned to him. Yet. What did you think? I would take you on a date? Well, that is not a bad idea though. He smirked. Shut up. I never said that. Start the car and drop me home. I leaned on my seat and closed my eyes. I did not know how I could talk to him so angrily when I should put all of my anger on Logan. What are you thinking? I heard him. Nothing. You see how he behaved with you. I can't believe how you can digest his insult. You should have given him a slap. I frowned and opened my eyes. Are you provoking me? No, just trying to console you. No need. Just agree with what I told you. No, I replied blankly. Yes. No. No. Yes. Yes. He pulled the brake and the car stopped. I almost got hurt on my head by the sudden stop. What's wrong with you, Lucas? You said yes. I frowned, then I realized he tricked me with words. I didn't. You asked no and I replied that yes, exactly, yes. Now you can step back. I stared at his amazed look. Then put my hands over my face. Why is everyone doing this with me? I am just tired. I mumbled. I did not want to cry in front of anyone. But tears slipped from my eyes, which I tried to hold on all this time. I leaned my head on my seat again. I sobbed and did not want to face the boy beside me. He would make fun of me for sure. He would think I was a weak girl. Cry. I heard him. I immediately wiped my tears and turned to him. But again tears fell down on my cheeks. I looked at him. He did not have any smug look on his face. In fact, his eyes became soft. It's okay. You can cry. Crying never makes people weak. After the rejection, for the first time, I felt relaxed after hearing something. You also think like your brother, right? I am a low-ranked weak omega. I let out. He looked away from my eyes and started the car again without replying to me. He was quiet in the whole ride. He did not look like the Lucas everyone saw in school or club. He looked like a very calm and cold guy. I did not let out a single thing, somehow felt nervous by his behavior. I tried to become silent, but the ride was full of the sound of my sobbing. His car stopped in front of my house. I was quietly sitting without moving. I tried to break the silence. Thank you for dropping me home. He did not reply. Did I say something wrong to him? I thought. Lucas. Mom is inside. If you want another day. He replied. He guessed my question without listening to it. I nodded at him and was about to open the door when I heard him again. What he did was really wrong. He should not have rejected you. At least he should talk with some elder about this matter if he really had someone in his life. They would manage something out. I moved my hand from the door and placed them on my lap. I lowered my head while listening to him. Who knows about this rejection? Did you tell your parents? I shook my head. No, I don't want my parents to get worried about me. He has already rejected me, so there is nothing to make others worry about more. Who else? My best friend Tessa and Dr. Linus. I see. He nodded his head. His eyes were on the road. Don't tell your family about it. I mumbled. He frowned and turned his head to me. I could see his confused eyes. Why? They really love Logan. I don't want Alpha to get enraged at him. He is the soon-to-be Alpha after all. In a blink of an eye, Lucas's eyes turned dark. I almost felt like I had stopped breathing. He looked fierce. You are still thinking about his reputation after what he did to you? No, it's just, is he very special? He asked and averted his eyes. Everyone cares about him a lot. He muttered. If we were not in a silent car, I could not hear him. I tried to ease the atmosphere. About what you said. I am not that girl. I can't take revenge on anyone. He turned to me. Then stop behaving like a heartbroken girl and start to enjoy your life. What? Just forget him and move on. Just let your old self go. Be a new Alisa and let others see what they have missed. Appreciate your life like others. He looked very confident as if he saw something potential in me. I sighed, I will think about it. Before I could think of anything, he came close to me. I held my breath when I smelled his manly cologne. I heard a crack. He just opened the door. His face turned to my face, almost touching my nose. His eyes were cold and sharp. And always remember one thing, don't dare to compare me with him again. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.